The fastest way to control someone is not to order them around. It is to make them feel ashamed of who they are. Once you start believing, maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe I'm too immature, or maybe I'm the problem, the other person may not even need to tell you what to do. You will start apologizing, over-explaining, people-pleasing, and taking on responsibilities that were never yours. The most effective manipulation does not force you to obey. It makes you question your own worth, then pushes you to prove that you are not the person they claim you are. Imagine you present an idea during a team meeting. Instead of pointing out a specific problem with the idea, a coworker says in front of everyone, "This feels pretty immature. Are you really ready to handle a project like this?" After the meeting, that same coworker asks you to take over part of their workload. You are already overwhelmed, but you still agree. At that point, you are no longer asking, "Why should this be my responsibility?" You are thinking, "I need to prove that I'm capable and not immature." Why can one vague insult convince you to take on work that does not belong to you? Because the other person quietly changed the question. The original question was, is this request reasonable? Now the question has become, am I actually competent? Once you accept that framing, you may start working late, giving in, and doing extra work just to defend your identity. Shame-based manipulation does not need you to believe the other person is right. It only needs you to become desperate to prove them wrong. While you are busy proving yourself, you stop examining whether their request makes any sense. Does this only happen at work? Of course not. In a relationship, someone might say, "You're too sensitive. Nobody else would put up with you." So you start hiding your feelings and become afraid to ask for anything. In a family, someone might say, "After everything we've done for you, how could you disappoint us like this?" So instead of thinking about what you actually want, you focus on making the guilt disappear. These statements may sound like criticism, concern, or even advice, but they share the same pattern. They do not focus on a specific behavior. They define you as a person. The message is no longer, "You handled this situation poorly." It becomes, "There is something fundamentally wrong with you." Once you accept that label, the other person gains access to your decisions. So how can you tell the difference between honest feedback and shame-based manipulation? Look at whether the person is discussing a specific behavior or attacking your entire identity. Constructive feedback sounds like, "This report is missing its sources, and the third section needs to be revised." A shame-based attack sounds like, "Why are you always so unprofessional?" The first statement gives you facts and something you can improve. The second gives you a vague label and leaves you chasing the speaker's approval. Of course, not every uncomfortable comment is manipulation. Sometimes you made a mistake and you need to take responsibility for it. But taking responsibility is not the same as condemning yourself. You can say, "I did not handle that well," without accepting, "That means I'm incompetent." A specific mistake can be corrected. It does not automatically give someone the right to define your entire character. What is the most dangerous thing you can do when someone tries to make you feel ashamed? Immediately apologize, defend yourself, over-explain, or work harder to prove your value. Once you enter proof mode, they control the conversation. You are now defending yourself against their label instead of asking them to support their accusation. A better response is to bring the conversation back to facts. Ask, which specific part do you think is a problem? What standard are you using? Or, we can discuss what happened, but do not turn one issue into a judgment about who I am. These responses are not aggressive. They simply force the other person to leave the vague insult behind and address something that can actually be examined. Before you rush to prove yourself, ask one more question. What does this person gain if I believe what they just said? Do they get your extra labor, automatic obedience, repeated apologies, money, or more control over your decisions? This does not mean every criticism is part of a calculated scheme. It means you should not focus only on what they said about you. You should also notice what your shame is pushing you to do for them. The next time someone says something that suddenly makes you feel small, do not immediately argue and do not immediately comply. Pause and ask, is this a verifiable fact or a vague judgment about my identity? Are they helping me solve a problem, or are they trying to weaken my judgment? A manipulator does not need you to completely believe them. They only need you to start doubting yourself. As long as you keep chasing their approval, they get to decide what good enough means. Shame has the most power over you when you are desperate to prove your worth. The moment you stop proving yourself and start evaluating whether the other person's demand is reasonable, their control begins to disappear.